Our life here in France continues, with new adventures waiting around every corner. Welcome to our channel, where we share our journey toward a simpler way of living, away from the big city, closer to nature, and slowly growing our little farm so we can live more sustainably in the future. We are Ollie and Gisli. For many years, while living in Sweden with its long winters and short growing season, we dreamt of a warmer climate and a more grounded lifestyle. We spent countless late nights talking about the possibility of moving somewhere new. For Gisli, who comes from Iceland, the idea of living in a warmer country felt almost unreal. Me, on the other hand, having grown up mostly in Greece, my biggest fear has always been the intense summer heat. This is the reason we decided to settle in France instead of Spain or Portugal, which were part of our initial plan. But dreams only come real when you dare to step into the unknown. And that meant leaving behind our comfort zone, our steady jobs, our beautiful home, and everything familiar to see what life could look like somewhere new. And are we fully ready? Maybe not. Are we excited? Absolutely. And so far, we're loving every moment of building this new life together. After spending a month getting our new home ready for winter and preparing the soil for the growing season ahead, it was finally time to return to one of our favorite places on the property, our orchard. Here we chose to plant fruit trees that can thrive with just a little care, an occasional prune, a little feed, and plenty of sunlight. Here we've already planted many young trees, among them apple, pear, nectarine, and even olive trees, each one slowly becoming a part of the landscape we're creating. Although the trees are still young and delicate, we can already imagine them growing strong, producing fruit that we'll be able to enjoy throughout most of the year. Planting trees is a slow process, and it can be hard on the body. Thankfully, we have our digger to handle the heavy work, especially since the soil here is mostly clay with lots of stones. We also have to remind ourselves to use proper posture while shoveling, lifting with our legs, not our backs, so we don't injure ourselves. Though, as you can see, we're not exactly perfect at it and still have work to do. In the same orchard, we're also planning to plant lots of berry bushes. The kids absolutely love berries, and sometimes it's a challenge to keep up with them. For now, we've planted a few raspberry, blueberry, and honeyberry bushes, hopefully enough to get us through the first season. Over time, we plan to gradually increase the number of bushes through propagation. The tricky part with these bushes is keeping an eye on the soil pH. Blueberries, for example, need acidic soil to absorb nutrients properly and thrive. Since our soil wasn't suitable, we had to buy acidic soil from our local garden supplier. In the future, though, we hope to maintain soil acidity more naturally by covering the ground around the bushes with pine needles. The next step was setting up the swings. Remember the trampoline we built? Well, it was time for an upgrade to our little playground. We started building everything in front of the house because the flat asphalt surface made construction much easier. The trap, of course, was that once it was built, there was no way the two of us could lift it and move it to its permanent spot. That meant we had to wait for a family visit to finally get it into place. Good thing that visits come always with extra hands. Next up, the herb garden. This is my project and I found the perfect spot. A wall with some stones in front of it, indicating that something used to grow there in the past. Right now though, the space is dominated by tangled grapevine, weaving through brambles, making it completely unusable unless we clear everything out or carefully work around it. The plan is to keep the grapevine, remove the rest, and plant all of my favorite herbs in the kitchen. Unfortunately, while the digger was working on the patch, a hose sprang a leak, leaving the project only halfway done. But you can already imagine how beautiful it will look once everything is in place. Even though we had just moved into a new place, I felt the urge to start growing our own food despite winter approaching. Back in Sweden, I wasn't used to planting anything this late in the year. Most plants wouldn't survive the harsh winter. Here, however, I had the chance to be creative and think differently. I researched which plants could survive the mild winters of southern France and began sowing seeds. Some, like radishes, went straight into the garden beds we had built, while others, like salad greens, started in trays until they were strong enough to be transplanted. Different side projects are always happening in this house. One of them involved a hole that used to be a chimney from our kitchen's heating stove. The problem was that it was positioned in a way that collected rainwater, which could have caused damage to the roof over time. Since we weren't planning to use the stove anymore, we decided to remove the chimney and cover the hole. We couldn't find a matching rooftop piece at our local store, so we improvised by using an old piece of rooftop we found on the property to cover the hole. It might not be the prettiest solution, but it will keep water from damaging our roof. As the weeks passed, we could feel the weather changing. Morning fog and the chill in the air at the beginning and end of the day were gentle reminders that winter was on its way. These moments became our little pockets of cozy time indoors, perfect for getting creative and enjoying special moments with the kids. Cold weather calls for a warm solution. We took the opportunity to gather all of the wood scraps in the garden and build a big bonfire, perfect for warming our hands and lifting our spirits. To make things more interesting and to clear out the outdoor space, we decided to give our sheltered area a good clean and get a little creative with it. The result? Our new outdoor home cinema, which we're sure will be enjoyed for many months of the year. Among the many things happening at our place is beekeeping. We had previously tried keeping bees in Sweden, but unfortunately they didn't survive the winter in their second year. Now, we've decided to give it another try, this time with more attention and care to see if we can help them thrive. While the signs of autumn are all around us, there are still days when the sun shines brightly. These are the perfect days to head outside and spend time working in the garden. Now let's head inside and take a look at our kitchen renovation. The lack of natural light had convinced us to create a big window right in the middle of the kitchen. It wasn't an easy task though, since we didn't have the right tools to cut the opening, and buying them didn't make sense as we'd have no other use for them. We rented the equipment from a local tool rental store. We also made a trip to a store to pick up materials for the walls, making sure everything was ready before continuing. Slowly but steady, we began cutting through the thick wall, working toward our dream window. Once it's finished, it will make our kitchen bright, cheerful, and a happy place to cook and enjoy meals together. This house is always buzzing with life, with endless projects running simultaneously in every corner. The garden constantly needs a helping pair of hands, and the renovation of our home moves forward slowly but steadily. Watching this place transform into something fresh and new gives us the strength to keep going. And with autumns and winters being mild here, we have the luxury of time. Time to prepare ourselves and the house for the season ahead. Starting a new life in a new place comes with its challenges, but they're challenges we're ready to overcome. Meeting new people in our area and making new friends adds an even brighter tone to this place of happiness. As we move on with our new adventures, we welcome you to tag along and stay tuned for the next episode.